Okay, we're live
Hey everybody, it's Ken and Kathy.
with Cushman Coaching and Consulting, and welcome to Let's Talk About What Really Matters. As you can see today, we're wearing our headphones, and maybe you read that we have one of our graduates and colleagues that will be joining us this afternoon, Monikah Ogando. We met Monikah, I want to say it was 20 years ago this year, and I think it's back in 2003. She was part of our Florida 108 leadership program and came through the trainings, and she really was a star, and she made a big difference with her team and some other people, and she went on to coach other leadership programs, and she created some amazing things, PhDs, TED Talks. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it. I'm just going to bring her on and have her join us and tell us about what she's created so far. It's very inspiring. So,
Yes.
Monikah, hey!
Hey Monikah!
Hi, everybody!
Yes, and we have to get used to calling you Dr. Ogando.
It's still Monikah. It's
Yes.
still Monikah.
It's still Monikah. But wonderful. So thanks for being here. You are one of the most inspiring women I know.
Thank you.
You've created so much incredible stuff in your life, and I just know I look up to you and really, really admire you. And,
Thank
and
you.
I know that a lot of other women too look to you.
Thank you. I feeling it's quite mutual, Kathy. You know you're one of my favorite people on the planet.
Okay.
I love the work that you have been a stand for decades. It has literally pivoted my life, as I know many others can attest to the same. I remember some time ago, I always talk about David Goggins being like my spirit animal because he's so badass. He wrote the book Can't Hurt Me, and he's like Navy SEAL, and he's done a gazillion marathons, and he's just a beast, right? And so I admire and look up to that because he's so unstoppable and he's so imperturbable, and he's like, everything that you throw at me to stop me or to throw me off my game or to have me fail, I'm going to use it as fuel. And I just find that so inspiring. And one of the things that he said in an interview where he wasn't so lit up, that I think embodies everything that your work stands for, is he said, somebody asked him, do you believe in heaven and hell? What's your definition of hell? And he said, my definition of hell would be getting to like have a one-on-one with God, and for him to show me this is what your life could have been. You could have been a best-selling author. You could have helped millions of people. You could have gotten to the Navy SEAL. You could have done this and that with your life, and you didn't, because you didn't take a risk, because you weren't willing to grow, because you weren't willing to confront some of your own limiting beliefs, et cetera, et cetera. And so having met you at the time that I did, I don't know if you knew at the time, but I had just come off of a clean bill of health after having been diagnosed with stage 4 cervical cancer when that happened, when I went through summit education. And so I was like, I don't know what to do with my life. It felt like, when you're about to be in a car accident and you see your life flash before your eyes, but you made it, but you're still high on the adrenaline. You're like, what just happened? Oh my God, I'm still here. That's kind of how I went into summit education, and I had some decisions to make. I had some decisions to make about what kind of mother did I want to be to my then 4-year-old daughter. She's now 26. What kind of relationship did I want to have with the boy that I gave up for adoption when I was a teenager, who now we have a relationship with, and now I'm the grandmother to his child. What kind of career do I want to have? What kind of impact do I want to have in the world? And the thing that opened up for me was, these are all choices for me to make. It's not like a default thing, and it's like, oh, based on your astrology and based on, what your mom did or what your dad did, and that's the career you take. It was like, no, I'm at a choice point here. I can decide to come this way or that way. Those possibilities are endless. And while at first, that sense of possibility felt overwhelming and like I was undeserving of such grace and infinity. I'm getting emotional already. It was also like, there have been so many people that I know in my life who can't take their next breath, and I can. because they're no longer with us,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what would they give for just one possibility? Never mind
One
the endless
day.
ones you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it felt like a responsibility. It felt like, how dare you have this much possibility, this much potential, this much available, and sit on your ass as though you don't, as
You're giving
though
me goosebumps.
Yes, I'm so
I don't have any
inspired
soup.
listening to you.
those aren't goosebumps. That's just hair.
That makes you feel it more.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Um,
but it's just to add this, like that's so true. There's so many people that are out there, and they kind of feel stuck. But it really boils down to is they just got to start choosing and own, like really come into like ownership.
right. And the part that I had been unwilling to face, this is part of like confession time maybe, is that I got something out of playing small. You know,
Mm.
I got to blame somebody else for chances that I missed or opportunities that I missed. I got to feel angry about, somebody not giving me a benefit of the doubt when I didn't earn it, to be honest. Um, I got to feel resentful. I got to justify my own jealousy of what other people had been creating in their lives that I had not created yet. It felt good to create connection with someone, even though we were getting connection by putting down somebody else, by gossiping
Right.
about somebody else, or about comparing to somebody else. And I think social media kind of, exacerbates that.
Totally.
And I got to own my own financial journey. For
Mm.
example, a few years after I had graduated from the trainings and I had done a lot of senioring and coaching other leadership programs behind me, etc. My business was ranked as the Inc. 500, as one of the Inc. 500 fastest growing companies. It was number one in Fort Lauderdale that year. But that was also the worst financial year of my life, of my life. I was like, if these people knew how broke I was, they would snatch this thing so fast from my hands and give me that. You don't deserve that. And I remember something that you told me, Ken, a long time ago. I don't know if you remember this, because you've said so many wise things over the years. But Ken said to me once, the thing about awards is that they are a lagging indicator of success. It's they're just now rewarding you for something that you've done in the past. But your behavior is a leading indicator of success. What you do today says what you're gonna have in the future. So you can't lay down now. Was
You sure
basically
that was me? That sounds pretty cool.
that was you. That was you. And I was like, dang, I can't lay down too long.
Mhm.
Like give yourself 5 minutes for the pity party and then get going.
Hmm.
And I think for me that was so invaluable because it allowed me to have a different relationship with failure. It allowed me to have a different relationship with results that I don't like. There are some times
Mm.
when people say, "Oh, I'm not getting results." No, you're getting results. You are always manifesting something.
Mhm.
You may not like it. That may not be what wanted. That may not be what you anticipated, but it is part of our consciousness and it is part of our intention. And
You're
so,
always creating results,
right.
right? You just got to be willing to look at it and.
And I
Well,
had
and
been
you.
unwilling. I had been unwilling. And then you having that conversation with me about your behavior today is a leading indicator of the success that you'll have tomorrow. I was like, oh man, I got to get up from here. I can't just lay down and be like,
Mhm.
I failed. I just deserve to die. It can't be like that.
Mhm. Well, and you said something about your relationship with failure, and I think that for me has always been a struggle in when I don't accomplish something I want, separating myself from
The result.
the
Yeah.
result, right?
Right.
Not be feeling like a failure or thinking that I'm a failure because I failed at something.
Right. Yeah, that's also been incredibly helpful. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for the love, Anna.
Hi, Nina. Yes, there have been four key results, I will say, four positive results, and I can't say four negative results that I have had since I finished the training that I I don't know that they would have been possible had I not gone through the trainings. So the first one is, of course, the relationship that I created with my firstborn. I didn't know that it was possible for me to be a teenager, to give up that beautiful little boy for adoption, and then years later, not only find him, because that in itself was an impossibility, but to then find him and reconnect with him in such a way that here we are, he's now an adult, and he's so grown that he has a child, and we have a relationship. Like, I'm actually his mother, and that child that he has is actually my grandbaby, my granddaughter, right? That was not possible had I not gone
Yeah.
through trainings. That's the first one. The second one is to allow myself to be loved in an intimate, connected, primary spousal relationship. Um, for me, it was very easy to lead with my intellect. I'm going to be the smart one in the room. I'm going to be the accomplished one in the room. I'm going to be the boss bitch, and to allow the softness, to allow the vulnerability, the intimacy, the connectedness that happens in a primary relationship like that would not have been possible had I not challenged some of those limiting beliefs that I had about relationships. Because even though my mother and my father had been married forever, my parents were married from the time, from 2 years before I was born till my father's death in a couple of years ago. Um, but just because you're married a long time don't mean that it's an effective or intimate or
Right.
successful relationship. And I got to see that. I got to see that it's like, oh, you guys have the paper, but you don't have the substance, right? So I was able to reconnect with that. The third success, of course, is the career piece, but not from a place of overcompensating, like leading with my intelligence or leading with achievements, but from a place of impact, from a place of leave the world better than you found it, and leave people better than you found it. That sense of purpose that wasn't available in my career before. Because yes, I could make money, and yes, I could, floss for the gram and look at my boat and look at my jet and blah blah blah. But I really want you to look at the difference that people make in each other's lives. That's really what counts at the end
Yeah.
of the day, and that's what people are going to remember. Um, and then the fourth one is about my self trust. I had such a contentious relationship with my own word. There have been so many promises that I made other people that I broke. Not like, and I don't mean like crimes, okay? I'm not confessing to any felonies or misdemeanors.
Right.
But I
No.
just mean like something menial, like, oh yeah, I'll meet you for coffee at 3 o'clock and not showing up until 3:15, 3:20, and then thinking nothing of it. Like, it's just what it is, traffic, Miami, whatever. Um, but to have more respect for my word was not even something I even thought was important enough to consider before the trainings. And what I discovered is that as I honored my own word, I got real clear about what my values were, what my intentions, my objective, the kind of person that I said I was in the world, and that I could believe myself, because other people's
Yeah.
belief in me is not contingent on their good faith. It's contingent to whether it's aligned with my own belief. So if you think I'm an asshole, that's just a little degree off of what I think of myself. Um, so those things were not available had it not been for the trainings. And the negative results, I call them negative results because I don't like them, not because they weren't valuable, right? But having the worst financial year of my life, as I got the Inc. 500, it sounds like a passive aggressive brag, but that was, wow, that did amazing for my resilience, for my ability to stand the vicissitudes of life and be able to say, just bring it, I don't care, I'm unstoppable. um in the year 2021, I had 7 deaths in my family in just as many months. It was like one after the other after the other after the other, and these are things that you don't, obviously some of them were expected. Like, my father was 90 when he passed, we knew he was going. And then others just really challenged my faith in the divine, and like, why do we live in a world where so and so is still alive, but my brother has to die? My brother-in-law, my sister's husband. And for me, having been equipped with the tools that I learned at the trainings allowed me to bend with that level of stress in my life and not break, to be okay with my grief and not vomit it on other people, to really feel how heartbroken I was when my father passed, and still be really proud of the daughter that I had become. It wasn't a complete quote unquote loss, right? He touched enough lives, and he was enough of an influence in my life where I will forever carry him, even though he's not physically here anymore. And so for me to watch, kind of like, there's a parallel track in your brain and your mind where part of you is participating in your life and the other part of you is observing you participate in your life. The observer part of me is like, I'm really impressed. Okay, all right, you're doing all right for yourself. High five, little girl. Because the 4-year-old Monikah, 8-year-old Monikah, that was involved in childhood sexual abuse with her uncle, that then later on, like all the things that have happened in my life, she would have wanted the today Monikah to be in her corner. And so for me, it was an opportunity to, one, acknowledge and celebrate myself. I think this culture does a very poor job of honoring women who honor themselves. But also to, it's kind of like that starfish story, right? That it's like, wow, who else? Who else gets to be thrown back into the ocean? Because I may not be able to touch everybody, but it makes a difference with this one and with this one that I touch, right? And then it becomes a game. I remember Ralph Campbell saying once, when you get that it's not about the numbers, then it can be about the numbers.
Yes.
I never forgot that, because it's not about the numbers. It's about that impact. It's about that legacy. I have a signature program called Women, Wealth, and Worthiness that kind of blends the financial literacy of my first career as a financial planner and as a stockbroker with the mindset piece and the transformation piece and the impact. And the conversation that we're in is about changing generational conversations around money, around wealth, around legacy, and what it means for women specifically.
Yes.
Because there was a time when a woman was a line item in somebody else's wealth statement. And that woman later on got her independence, but then she could own women as well. So there's a breach in the sisterhood that needs to come back to. We need to have a reconciliation talk about that. And when it comes to wealth, and what is our shared responsibility in uplifting the conversation around impact and legacy that wealth brings up. And so for me, like, I could spend all day and night talking about how does your wealth journey, how is your wealth journey a metric for your relationship to the divine? People think, okay, wait, those two don't go together. But that duality wouldn't have been available had I not gone through the trainings and understood that there's a reason for you being biracial, Monikah. There's a reason for you being bicultural, bilingual. Like, this duality that you embody is part of the gift that you're here to bring to the world. And you just got to own it instead of thinking that it's some kind of coincidence or something. So I will be forever thankful to you, Ken and Kathy, for the work that you stand for in the world. And anytime you call me, the answer is yes. We're just going to have to figure out how. But the yes is a given.
Oh, well, thank you for being so inspiring. Just listening to you share is so powerful and so inspiring. I just love being in your space.
Yeah, you talked about some of your accomplishment, but it wasn't out of, look at me. So what inspired you? Because I know, you went on and you got a couple PhDs, right? And then you've done TED Talks.
I'm a nerd.
So why? What touched you in a way? What was the reason that you went that way?
Well, specifically about the PhDs was because I had always been fascinated. I have 2 PhDs, one in organizational psychology and the other in comparative religions. And the reason I went to organizational psychology is because I have always been fascinated by how human beings change each other in community, and how group dynamics sometimes influence individual consciousness and vice versa.
It's like the trainings, right?
Yeah, like the trainings, exactly. And so I wanted to like peek behind the curtain, like what makes transformational trainings like that so effective when people have been going to conferences and workshops forever and they don't have this impact.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it that it hits such that it becomes this pivotal, unforgettable marker in your life, right? The reason why I decided to go for the comparative religions PhD is because I have always been oriented towards a curiosity and a devotion to the divine. But my curiosity and devotion to the divine came with questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you know this, but most Latin American countries we're raised Catholic, and the questions are a no-no. You're supposed to, believe, and if you don't just believe, and if you have questions, then that's a measure of failure in your faith. And it didn't matter how biblical I was. It's like, yeah, but the Bible says blah, blah, blah. And they couldn't deal with the questions and the inconsistencies that I was bringing up. I was like, I need a structured place of rigor and excellence that has space for my questions. And I remember friends saying, but don't you think that if you go for a thing of comparative religions, that's actually going to kill the little bit of faith you have left? Because you're going to see behind the curtain, you're going to see the inconsistencies, you're going to see all that. Can I just tell you that it was completely the opposite? It was like I understood why the etymology of the word universe is one song, universe. Because everybody, even though they're using different languages and different cultures and different traditions, everybody's saying the same thing. And that's how I know that God is universal. Because it doesn't matter what the statues are that you use, or the traditions, or the rituals, or whatever. It's like everybody's looking at and touching the elephant, but from different places. So you think God is a trunk. I think God is an ivory tusk. Somebody else thinks God is a tail. It's the same thing. And so for me, the inspiration to go for all of that stuff is like, what would the big, badass, higher self version of you do? What would she choose? What would she go for if she didn't have a
question?
Listen.
What a great
Can I tell you where
question.
that came from, Kathy? Can I tell you where that came from? Every time I called you when you were coaching me, you said to me, you remember what you said to me? What would you say if you
Yes, I'm sure I said that a time or two.
If you were coaching yourself. And I was like, okay, all right. This woman is a blessing of self-sufficiency, Lord, because she's not giving me any answers.
That's right.
And that was such a gift. Because we're so used to, especially in the coaching industry, it's like, oh, you want to serve people, you want to help them, you want to give them answers. But you have been such an example for me of what it is to empower somebody to seek within and to find the answers within and to excavate their own consciousness so that because then you really own it. Then it's not, I'm doing something Kathy told me to do or Ken told me to do. Now it's like, no, this is me creating my own future. So the motivation for all that was, if you were being right now, the badass version, the highest version of yourself, the one that's like every you and every timeline be like, okay, go ahead. Giving you a high five, what would you be doing? What would you be choosing? Regardless, and don't think about whether it's possible or not. That's none of your business. That's none of your business.
Right. It's such a
total personal responsibility. I think it's one of the biggest things that I created in the training is that I am responsible for my experience and my results. Neutral. Not good, bad, right, or wrong, but given that, then I can do something with it.
That's right.
Yes, that's where the power lies.
And to not make somebody else a mechanism to my own agenda. That was another thing that I got out of that, is that because I am the creator of my experience, who you're being is who you're being.
Yes.
That has nothing to do with my interpretation of who you're being. So just because I think that you're out of order.
That not with everybody.
Just because I think you're out of order, that doesn't mean the way I have it isn't the way that it is. That's just the way I have it. That was so liberating.
Well, I've struggled with this conversation right here over the last 6 years when it comes to politics and even beyond. My own resistance, right? And if you apply that question, to that, it's like, okay, now what do I do with it? And so it's definitely been an interesting conversation to be in and questioning.
Well, listen, as an Afro-Latina woman, I've been confronted with that question also, especially in today's political climate. But here's what I here's what I think to be true for my own life. And I assert it is true of the human condition. And that is that people or things or whatever that trigger us, particularly those that have like a visceral, the resisting response, I put them there for a purpose. And especially folks that I look down on and judge, they're showing me parts of me that I haven't fully integrated. Yeah. And because I'm not willing to look at that thing within myself, I'll put it outside in you and then judge you for it. When I'm able to look at a particular, red-skinned politician who may or may not be in criminal problems right now, the thing that I've learned from him is, wow, imagine, Monikah, that you were so confident in yourself that whether you had the experience or not, whether you had facts and truth behind you or not, you would just go, can I say this, balls to the walls about something that you were completely committed and believed in, and you would actually have it happen with no facts, evidence, experience, or nothing. Just your will would have something happen. That's a lesson for somebody.
Yeah.
And so instead of looking at him like he's just, listen, take the meat and leave the bones.
That's good.
I'm sitting here thinking, you know what? I've done that.
Yeah. I know that's possible.
Yeah.
There was a time when people told me I wasn't the one to do this.
Yes.
10,000 people later, but still, it's even thinking that makes me feel. I gotta think some more about this. I think that in one way that's helped me get through some of this is it's happening for a reason.
Yeah.
And there's something for us to see. And something for us to own.
Yes.
And out of that awareness and ownership, we'll have it be different.
Yes.
Right. Right.
Oh, goosebumps.
Can't see
More hair.
More hair, yeah.
More hair.
Him and Dennis with the hair.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, I know that you had a short day today, and you had to take off, so I didn't want to hold you too long. Was there anything you want to add before you got to run out?
I just want to say to anybody who's listening that you're here for a reason, whether it's the live or the replay. I don't know if you guys use hashtags or not, but the universe very much acts like the internet. The algorithm is organized to your consciousness, to the things that you say that you want, to the things that you say you're interested in, right? So the same way that the internet, shows up with ads and with whatever that comes on your timeline feed based on your interests and the things that you click on, the same thing happens in the universe. Same thing happens with your life. You only get more of what you are already paying attention to. And so if you wanted to create different results, then manage your orientation towards your goals and towards your possibilities instead of what you don't want. And get support. This kind of reminds me of that parable when this guy went to heaven and he's like, "Wow, God, why did you help me?" He's like, "I sent you a helicopter and I took this and that." And somebody's listening to this replay, and you're gonna get to the pearly gates, and you're gonna be like, "God, why didn't you help me?" He's like, "I sent you a can and a Kathy Cushman. I don't know what I could have done."
Thanks, David. No, thank you. I don't want to get gray.
Yeah, really.
Dennis says this, and he keeps reminding me of this. The universe is working for you.
Yeah.
Or with you. Like it's like in your... And so to remember that, right, you're going to take that ownership and then... But from the victim and it's happening to me and it's outside of me, there's not much we can do. But when I get that, it's working with me, for me, and I'm creating and I'm the source, then it opens up possibilities.
But it also requires that I be conscious of what I'm focusing on. And that takes some work, right? That takes some effort on my part. I can't just kind of cruise through life. I've got to do some refocusing myself and connecting myself with what really matters, what I really want, not the first distracting kitten that runs along, right?
If I were to bring together what both of you said, you remind me of a Carl Jung quote that says, if you don't make the unconscious conscious, it'll drive your life and you'll call it fate. And so part of what you're saying, Kathy, is you got to make it conscious. You got to bring it to awareness so that you can interrupt yourself, so you can make different decisions, so that you can see another possibility. And when you bring that up to your awareness, then run with it, like Ken says, and create those results, create those possibilities. And when you get results that you don't think you want or anticipate, you are agile enough to be able to, like Neo, just whoop, and
what you're saying, that was level one of breaking through, right?
Yes.
Coming into recognition, coming out of denial into recognition of what's been generating me.
That's right.
And when I've been generating me, and it's been coming out of my beliefs and my mindsets, then I can do something with it.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
But that's where the real work is, too.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I love you forever.
Oh, I love you too. You are the most inspired woman. I'm so happy that you came on today. I'm feeling inspired myself. I'm creating a few things I'll be in contact with you about. But just love you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
If anybody wanted to get a hold of you, how would they get a hold of you?
You can look me up on social, Monikah Ogando, and right now I am leading my community through a money mindset makeover challenge for that whole mindset piece, and you can look that up on monikahogando.com/challenge. We're in the middle of it. You can still catch us.
Cool. I'll put that in the comments before we end today.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks. Love you.
All right. Love you.
Thanks
Bye.
Again. See you soon, or talk to you soon.
Oh, that was wonderful.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yes. She's very, very inspiring. I'm super inspired and empowered and excited.
It's a really great example that people can, when they start to take themselves on, when they start to work on it, when they come into that recognition and start to take on personal ownership, whatever they really want to create, they can.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We have the power. We are powerful creators. Mm-hmm. And being able to start to own that, right, creates amazing results.
When she said something in the beginning, we were talking, and she said about the internet.
Thanks, Carla.
I think the internet can be such a distraction, in creating what you want, right? Because it's so easy to get off track or get frustrated or just distracted. That it's easy to take away from being focused on what really matters to you.
Yes.
Right?
And as you start coming into that recognition or in that ownership, then you can start moving yourself in a really powerful way. And what we were talking about earlier when Monikah was talking about why she chose the one doctorate, the power of a group. When I'm powerful myself, but when I take my own power, focusing it with other people, right? The results that we can create, the results they can create, there's a synergy.
Yeah.
And I really think, for me, in going through the work in the beginning, was really owning that and realizing I didn't need to be a lone ranger. It wasn't a weakness to work with others,
Right.
And I didn't need help, but the power of support, the power, the synergy of working together creates so much. And
the power of having a community around you of like-minded people that are moving forward.
So David said, what you're saying about the internet is true of any tool. It's true.
That's true.
You can move. Yep.
You can use it to avoid or to move you forward, right? And again, it's about where we focus.
Yeah. What's driving you?
Mm-hmm. right? What's the underlying conversation, right? And becoming conscious of that.
And Carla said, "Hi, Ken. Might have to come down that way. Canada getting super scary. Oh, maybe an international unthink tank. That's interesting.
Unthink tank.
Well, Carla, you don't have to come down here anymore. We do some of the work now. We're doing it virtually, but Florida is not the greatest place to be right now. We're getting a little unthinkable here.
Yes.
We're from what we're told, we're a little too woke down here, and our wonderful governor is. I didn't want to get political, but he's where woke goes to die.
Yeah.
But no, we're here to make wake up.
Yes, we're to wake people up.
Anyhow, but working together, right, is really it's important. We're social beings.
Yes. Yes.
We're not here, right, to be islands.
And I've been reading a lot more about how a lot of people are missing their communities these days, right? A lot of the places people used to find community was at work. And now a lot of people work remotely, right? And even if they don't, there's much less community in a lot of workplaces. And people used to belong to like bowling leagues or bridge clubs. I think we're the only place that still we have a bridge club.
No, they're everywhere.
But there's not as much of that anymore, and I think people really are looking for places where they can find community. And I think that's important that we create that and we bring that.
I know in the work that we've been doing and looking at relationships and that's one of the biggest things, right? Relationships, and that's part of community. Community is just a bigger set of relationships.
Right.
And it's, what did they say? It was the key to happiness. And that happiness study, a 50-year study, the number one thing they found that contributed was relationships.
Relationships, yeah.
Right? Now, it's not always, like a primary relationship, but our friendships, our communities, the groups that we work with. Right? This is important. And so much is available. Well, I wish Monikah could have been here forever. We could talk with her for hours.
I know, she was so inspiring. I'm like, ooh, there's a project I've been kind of thinking about.
So next week we're going to be Rich Aubie is one of our graduates from a number of years back, maybe about 12 years ago, or maybe it was 15 years ago. He has refounded or restarted the Hollywood Lions Club. And he's going to be joining us, talking to us about the Lions Club, what he's doing there in South Florida, and what inspired him about it after he did his work and what he's continuing to do. So, if you're out there afternoon next week, on the 20th, I think it is.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, it's on 4/20. So those of you out there, you might want to watch. It'll be a really cool show. We'll make sure. No.
But the Lions Club does really good work, good community work, and
Absolutely.
I know he's done a lot of really good work in his community.
They said Rich was 16 years ago.
Oh my goodness, was he really? Yeah. But that's exciting. It'll be good to have him on and hear what they're doing with the Lions Club there.
One of the things we're going to do come in May, we're going to start trying this in the evening. We had some recommendation about doing afternoons, but we're going to do May and maybe a little bit longer in the evenings and see if we get better response or if more people have an opportunity to watch. So look forward to that. We'll announce it. We're going to continue bringing in graduates and some of our colleagues that are out there making a difference or have accomplished a lot of things. So stay tuned. Feel free to watch or ask questions or communicate. If you'd like to be on the show, just send Kathy I a direct message, and we'd love to have you.
Let us know if you want to come on and talk about some project you're up to. Maybe you need some support and you want to talk to the community about that.
Please.
Let us know. Come on.
Cool. All right, so we're going to wrap it up here.
Yes.
So this is Ken and Kathy with Cushman Coaching and Consulting, and let's talk about what really matters.
Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. And thank you again, Monikah, for coming on and being so inspiring. And we will see you next week with Rich Aubie from the Lions Club. Bye.
Thank you, Anna. You're very welcome. Thanks for joining us.